Hey there, comic friends, I'm Travis. It's time for another edition of Monster Comic Reviews. And this is for comics for the 15th of January, second week of January 2014. Jump right into it. First up is Astro City issue number 8. This has been an enjoyable story. Has to do with Wing Victory. Kind of her battle basically with male dominant world. Somebody's running a smear campaign on her, trying to figure that out. We get the introduce some more heroes in this. It's an enjoyable read. To me, it reads more like a book than it does a comic, and I don't know how I want to explain that further. It's all part of my feeling of I really enjoy these stories, but I really want to read them in trade as opposed to singles, and I've kind of got that in my head now. So every time I read a single issue, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm waiting for this arc to get over with, and then I'll shift into trades of the book, because I think it's going to be really enjoyable in trades that way. But really solid work here. I love this character. Her reliance on belief in her from the female population is what gains her power. Of course, they've done the smear campaign on her. Her places are being invaded by men, and she can feel her power waning. And at the end of this, some exposure happens as to who the culprits are, and they are starting to take action on her. So now that the mystery part is done, I think the exciting battle might ensue, and we'll see what happens from there. As this woman tries to maintain her place in what is unfortunately a male-dominant world, and what does it mean to, I think we kind of address this to some degree. What does it mean to uphold feminism amongst all of that charges and attacks that come along with being a powerful female figure? So really good, really interesting. Solid artwork. Of course, great Alex Ross covers. And just all around an enjoyable book. I said I'm moving to trades with it because I think that's how I want to collect this type of story. Next up is Batgirl issue number 27. I've commented on some other people's videos who have talked about this. Gothtopia, we get a full-on story of Gothtopia here. Yeah, there's some interesting beats in this story. Everything's perfect because it's a utopia. There's really, they go out during the day and all of this stuff. The amusing thing is there's this, there's this very famous ice cream place, and they use the Joker's, Joker face kind of thing for the that traditional Joker card thing as their logo. There's some issues there, fractured person. Right at the very end, there's a little tidbit of stuff there that might be interesting as far as, there's the real world's out there that they aren't really aware of, but somehow that kind of creeps in. But as a whole, like I said in those other videos, and I'm going to say it here, who cares? I don't care. Nothing about this pulls me in. There's no reason for me to be invested in this. It's all fluffy, what if Gotham was a pleasant, bright, cheery place? Baloney. We have no reason, especially in the Batgirl issue, to be invested in this, and why these characters are the way they are, and why is it happening, and anything like that I can see. So for me, it's who cares. This issue just means nothing other than you want to see Gotham look more like Metropolis, kind of a thing, and see Batgirl running around in a white costume. I'm looking forward to Gothtopia being done, and let's get on with some real stories that have real meat that really matter, because this event is silly and kind of dumb, unless something amazing happens at the end of the whole thing in one of the detective books or whatever, and that still leads me to leads me with the Batgirl book to say, who cares? Because there's not enough there for me to really care about. Justice League 3000, issue number 2. I'm still really digging this book. I think it's funny. It's got the right level of humor. There's actually something going on. They're trying to meet some mission and whatnot. The characters are hilarious, seeing these versions of these of our Justice League, because they're really struggling. You know, they have all these problems. They're not themselves. They're not the selves that we're used to seeing and whatnot. And it's not like they're just, and it's not like they're these characters. It's not like they're Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman having a bad day. They're fractured. I mean, there's clearly pieces of these people's puzzles that are missing, and how they deal with each other and their situations based around that are amusing and interesting at the same time. We get this new character named Locus who's fighting for the other side. She basically can change reality wherever we want to. She's a crazy psychopath, kind of a character who's kind of fun. She immediately has the hots for Green Lantern in this, which causes all kinds of problems and whatnot. I really enjoy it. I like Keith Giffen's humor. I think he does humor well. He has a great way of delivering that, so you know, I think there's plenty of influences on Keith Giffen there to show that humor and that fun, but also giving us actually a real story in amongst all this too. The art by Howard Porter, I think, is dynamic. It's interesting. It works really well for this style of comic. You know, but the bigger machine that's going on, this fight between Cadmus trying to free themselves from this basically giant empire of some sort is interesting, and so that larger story is pretty cool. Really digging this comic. Way more than I thought I was going to. Quite honestly, didn't know what I was going to get into, but it's a lot of fun because it feels like an alternative book. It's not, I mean, it deals with all the DC minutia, but doesn't at the same time because it can fly in the face of any of that it wants to in some sense. So really cool. I like the setup for that. Justice League of America, Forever Evil tie-in number 11. This book is pretty much absolutely completely pointless. I love the characters that are in the book. Love Martian Manhunter. Love of Stargirl. But there's just, this book is stuck on idle, waiting for I'm assuming the rest of Forever Evil to get close to its ending, so then it can actually pull the trigger and tell the climactic thing that it wants to tell. The unfortunate thing is it was ready to pull the trigger 2 issues ago, and here we are on a 3rd issue, and I'm afraid we're going to get 2 or 3 more before we're honestly going to get the trigger pulled on the whole Firestorm, Matrix, prison thing aspect. And hell, it probably won't even get told in this. It'll probably get told in the Forever Evil book. I'm not 100% sure. But really, this is just, it's just idling. It's just idling, waiting for that to get to the right time in the main event so it can go on and do its own thing. I will continue to pick it up. A few more issues of this silliness left, and then it becomes Justice League United. Interested in what that's going to be going forward from there. But as far as this issue in particular, complete fluff and not really that interesting or dynamic at all. Marvel Knights, Hulk. Really enjoying this. Number 2 of 4. Really enjoying this. Still really digging the Marvel Knights thing. This one is really cool, I think, in the fact it's kind of this, obviously it's an alternate reality kind of thing. Well, you have what seems to be like a fringe group of S.H.I.E.L.D. is fighting against S.H.I.E.L.D. They've kind of scooped up all the radical, crazy gadgets and sci-fi stuff that's kind of been either mothballed or closeted by the regular S.H.I.E.L.D. And they're trying to prove their worth, it seems to be. They're trying to prove their worth, their value, and part of that proof is that they're going to use the Hulk. They're going to use the Hulk as a weapon. They're going to take care of the Hulk. They're going to do, because S.H.I.E.L.D's never been able to manage to do it. And so they're dragging basically Banner through hell in this. They want Banner to turn to the Hulk because they need the Hulk now to use the Hulk as a weapon. They want to be able to prove they can do that. So they basically torture Banner, try to frighten him, try to make him mad, do whatever they can do to induce the Hulk so they can use this weapon, while S.H.I.E.L.D. is very quickly squeezing down on them and is going to squeeze them out and basically extinguish them. They can't figure out how to get him to turn the Hulk, so they finally decide, you know what, we're going to use the serum that they used in the last issue that created these 2 giant Hulks. One of the keys to this serum, though, it's like a mix of you know, gamma stuff and Captain America Super Soldier, but it's also got kind of a you know, like nuke type stuff in it, also the character Nuke. So whoever uses it is kind of enslaved to the will of this main woman that runs this fringe group. They inject Banner with that, close him down into a water chamber to I'm drawing a blank on the name of what those chambers are called. But basically shut all of his other senses. He explodes out of that thing as the Hulk, but he comes out of it being a Super Hulk. I mean, he's giant size. He's gonna be a weapon. Hulk smash. It's all super exciting. There's awesome art in the thing, and it seems to be that he is under the control of this woman that's in control of the fringe group of the Shield. Very cool. Petro Kowalski is a great artist. I'm hoping that after this book, they'll find other big titles for him to be on. I'd really love to see him on something else. I know he's the artist for the Image book Sex. Not interested in that book. That book was boring and all get out. Not because of his art, but because of the story itself. But great, great artist. He should be on all kinds of stuff. In my opinion, the guy does great work. Shocked that the big two doesn't pick him up at some point, or some other creators of some other creator-owned project don't like convince him to come and do something else, hopefully, because I'd love to see him on more stuff. Great, great fun stuff. And finally, for this time, Suicide Squad, a Forever Evil tie-in. I mean, it's not really though. I mean, it's Forever Evil tie-in in the fact that this is running in the current timeline that the rest of the DC universe is, as far as the villains are taking over. We get this interesting, kind of a cool story here. People who have been buried under the mountain. You basically got these, they've grouped up together to try and figure out how to get out of the mountain, and they've gone in groups of one hero and one villain, both working for Amanda Waller. The heroes thinking they've been duped by Amanda Waller, and you kind of get each of their histories, kind of like a brief portfolio of, you know, Power Girl, what she's about, you know, Deadshot and Unknown Soldier and all these things, kind of where they came from and how they ended up where they're at now. And it was kind of really interesting, just a little, you know, snippet for all that. If you're jumping on the book, kind of gives you a basics for some of these characters and stuff. You know, Captain Boomerang and just lots of different people in it. I particularly like the Unknown Soldier one. That one was incredibly grim. The Unknown Soldier, man, he may be more violent and vile than any of the other villains, and I don't know that he's considered purely a villain. But so interesting. Really enjoyed it. This book is one of the books that's going to be canceled. Coming into April, I think is this last issue. I'll be on board for the rest of the issues, I believe. I am really enjoying it. Curious to see what they do with this whole thing. I think they're shutting it down. But are these characters, where these characters will land at? Because they're interesting and cool characters. So I hope they don't just become, in the case of the main characters, the villains, I hope they don't just become the you know, villain of the month or villain of the week kind of villains, and that's all there is to them, because they're all really dynamic and they did a good job, or at least Matt Kent with this book is doing a good job of making them dynamic. I mean, obviously Harley Quinn's got her own book, so no worries there for her, but the rest of these characters, you know, where are they going to be at? Are we going to see something different and whatnot? Yeah, Suicide Squad, it's been pretty enjoyable. And that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all next week with more books to talk about. Have a good one, everybody.